All right. Hello, hello, business world. I am just here to give some updates on PPP loan. Some things changed the end of last week. Banks started accepting applications. And so I just wanted to kind of give an update as my third kind of video. And a couple tips for people that are applying, thinking about applying, all those things. Of course, as always, if you would like to apply and need some help, please call us or email us. We can help, or we can even just answer questions and lead you in the right direction on who you need to ask certain questions to. So a couple of changes since last week. The interest rate for the PPP loan, if not all of it is forgiven and it rolls into a loan, was at 0.5%. It's now 1%. The term is now 2 years. It was 10 years, I think, but now it's gone down to 2 years. So whatever you don't get forgiven is going to turn into a loan. It's going to be 1% interest, and it's got to be paid within 2 years of getting that loan. So again, we're talking about the Paycheck Protection Program loan, not the EIDL loan. So this Paycheck Protection loan is where you apply at the bank, what everybody's applying for, what you've seen all over Facebook. The other things are use of proceeds. At least 75% of the loan has to be used towards payroll costs. 25% is what can be used on those operating expenses. And so those are pretty specific. So if you need more guidance on that, give us a call on what's considered operating expenses. SBA.gov also explains that, and a lot of your local banks have a lot of good explanation about that as well. But if you need clarification, please call or email us. The timing is going pretty quickly now that loans are banks are getting caught up. So for instance, I applied for one of my clients on Monday and they got approved today. So the funding hasn't happened yet, but they got the approval that it's been approved with SBA. So that should be coming in the next day or two, I think. I think at the latest, maybe Monday. So once it's in the system, once it's at your bank and they are putting it in, it seems like it's going pretty quickly. And I've also heard just from other people in the industry that they've also gotten approvals too as well. I have not heard of anyone getting funded yet, so I'm assuming that'll happen in the next couple of days. So for small businesses with payroll, so if you pay payroll, even if you as the owner are on payroll, you were allowed to apply starting April 3rd, but really banks kind of started processing this Monday. So that's if you were on payroll. If you are a sole proprietor or independent contractor, so you own a company, you use all contract labor people, and you yourself get a 1099 that's then reported on your tax return at the end of the year, you can apply starting Friday, April 10th, assuming your bank has all the data and information set up that they need to do. So just to be clear, you cannot apply yet. Some banks may be accepting your information, but they're not submitting it until Friday. So sole proprietors and independent contractors, if you have no payroll, can apply on Friday. They are first come, first serve, so you want to get your application in soon if you're interested in taking advantage of this program, because once the money is gone, the money's gone. There has been talk of in the Senate and all the government agencies that they will expand the program if need be, but they wanted to see what the need was first and who applied before expanding the funding for that. So as of right now, it's considered first come, first serve. And another update was the Treasury Department issued guidance regarding affiliation rules. I guess there was some questions there on that. I am not an expert on that, so I would say you need to talk to your attorney and or attorney friend, or call an attorney if you have questions about affiliation. But Those have been the updates since last week. Then that came down from Goldman Sachs and a couple of webinars I've been on this week. Then I made a few little notes on just things to think of as your next steps once you get funded. So there are some things you need to be thinking of. It doesn't end when the money comes into your bank account. There's some strict rules, some strict guidance, in according to how you can use those funds if you want them to be forgiven. So keep in mind just some things to think through. Your 8-week window starts the date you get funded. So the date your loan closes and you get money in your bank account, that's when your 8 weeks starts. So you don't get to backdate payroll and pay people now and get that forgiven. That's not going to work. So your payroll date of funding and getting that part of the forgivable loan starts the date the money goes into your bank account. So for instance, some people have laid off people until they get their PPP funding. Once that PPP funding comes in, you have to hire those people back. That's the point of the government giving you this money right now, is to keep people employed. So you also have to hire back a large percentage of who you laid off. So if you're closed, as far as I understand it and the people in my industry, if you're closed because of COVID, but maybe people are still working from home or they're not working from home, you're still supposed to be paying them with these funds for the next 8 weeks. So just kind of something you have to think about as a business owner. But if you want that money forgivable, you have to start paying them back on payroll as soon as you get the money funded. A couple other things to think through is record keeping for the 8 weeks. So lots of people use QuickBooks, Sage, Xero, all those things. So I'm developing a spreadsheet for my clients to be able to keep track of their loan funds. But it's going to be very important for you to track the payroll that you're paying during these 8 weeks, how many employees you're paying, all those things, as well as your operational costs. If you're using 25% of that to pay for that, there's calculations that are going to go into that as to what's forgivable and what's not at the end of this. So you want to have, a plan in place for tracking those funds. This is where having a bookkeeper and an accounting system come into play. That's what we're doing for our clients. We're already kind of, gearing up. We've applied for everybody. Now we're gearing up to start tracking that data once it comes in, so that we have all the correct records when we go to ask for forgiveness of the loan. It's important to understand what's forgivable. So call us, email us, look on your bank website, look on sba.gov. Lots of people have all that information. If you need more clarification, please call us. We also have some clients who are setting up separate bank accounts just for these funds. So once the loan comes in, they're transferring the money to that bank account so that they can specifically just use the money for what it's supposed to be used for, and it doesn't get commingled with other things. In terms of record keeping, I say, if you have an accounting system like QuickBooks, the recommendation is using a class for those expenses. So setting up a COVID PPP class in QuickBooks to be able to track that data, so that you can pull a report that just shows your COVID expenses at the end of this time period. Spreadsheets, we're developing a spreadsheet too for some of our more complicated clients to keep track of that. And so those are just kind of some tips to think through what's your next step once you get funded, and those things that are important. And send your banker a gift after all this is what I have to say. They have been working, some bankers I talked to on Saturday that were working, trying to get these loans funded. I know here Community Bank has been amazing. Bancorp South has been amazing. I've worked with those two. I've worked with some local banks in Mandeville that, they're on it. So send your banker a gift, because they've been working round the clock and working very hard to get their systems up and running, their forms ready, and educating you and us as well on kind of what they need to process these loans. And if you have any additional questions or just want some help filling out your application or whatever, please give us a call, 228-818-0558, or you can email me at hblankenship@ttrsq.net. I would love to help anybody that kind of needs help with this. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.